Hello, beautiful people. I am DJ, and welcome back to my channel Indian Cooks and Books. Today, I will be doing a mini book haul. It's my first book haul, but before that, I need to have a little heart to heart with you guys. How are you doing? I I'm not doing that great actually. I've been having a lot of tough time at work front, family stuff, and I people are getting on my nerves. I have insecurities that I'm getting on people's nerves. So that's that. I'm glad that we could have a chat about that. I hope you're doing okay. And if you're doing not so good, then at least you know that I'm there with you and hopefully it will get better, I guess. Okay. And to make things a little better, I went and ordered some books. These are the books that have won some book awards or at least have been nominated. So I'll be talking a little bit about the book as well as the award that is associated with the book. Okay, so I'll be talking about these books that I have accumulated. The first book that I will be talking about is Minor Detail by Adania Shibli, and it has been translated from the Arabic by Elizabeth Jacket, and it has won the English Pen Award, as well as it has won National Book Award for Translated Literature, and it was shortlisted for the International Booker. So the National Book Award for Translated Literature is given to the novels published in the US, but the translator and the author do not have to be a US citizen, and the translation needs to be published in that particular year, but the original book in original language doesn't need to be a new publication. And if I'm not wrong, the prize is announced in November, so I will be keeping an eye on this award. Okay, let's talk about the story of this book. This happens in 1949, 1 year after the catastrophic war of Palestine, where 700,000 people were displaced. In 1949, though, some Israeli soldiers rape, murder, and bury a woman in sand. And a few years later, many years later actually, another young woman tries to solve this. So there is a lot of erasure going on, and it is very difficult to put together this narrative. And I think this is very pertinent to the current times, and I'm really interested in knowing what the story going to be developed into. Let's get to the next book. The next book is Whereabouts by Jhumpa Lahiri. Jhumpa Lahiri won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction for her another novel, Interpreter for Maladies, I think, and I still haven't read that, but I will read that after this one. And this novel was written in Italian, and later Lahiri herself translated into English. What a boss move! What a boss move! Let me tell you a little bit about Jhumpa Lahiri. She was born to Bengali immigrant parents in London, but then she moved to and grew up in the US, and she got half a dozen really prestigious degrees from prestigious universities in the US. And she also became a professor of creative writing in Princeton, and she wrote amazing books. Then she married an Italian person and moved to Italy. And 3 years after living in Italy, in 2015, she published an essay called Learning Italian, or was it called Teach Yourself Italian? I'm sorry. It was called Teach Yourself Italian. And she also, in that essay, told us that she will be writing in Italian from now on. Wow, I'm speechless. And then she wrote 3 books, I think, in Italian, and this is the third one, and she translated it in English herself. I mean, I'm a little bit of a foreign language nerd, and for me, I'm like heart eyes emoji for her, and I'm really excited to read this book. So in this book, it is about this unnamed narrator in an unnamed city, and it's told through the places that she frequents, the people that she interacts, her mother, and some mysterious man who makes her feel strange. And suddenly one day she isn't lost anymore. She feels like she's lost before, but suddenly she, I think, has some sort of epiphany about life, I think. And I'm really hoping that I will have some epiphany by reading this. I am looking forward to it. So the next book is a bit of a curveball. It's called Box Hill by Adam Mars Jones, and the synopsis, I'll tell you a little bit about it. On his 18th birthday in 1975, Colin stumbles upon, literally, he's walking and stumbles on the legs of Ray, who is napping under a tree on a hill, and he's smitten like instantly, and he kind of falls in love with the man who is clad in leather and who is a biker. And this book is whole like about bikers and leather subculture and BDSM kind of relationships. And this is novel about desire and dominance. That kind of piqued my interest. I mean, are you into BDSM? Are you into leather? Then have I got a novel for you. I am not sure if I'm into BDSM. I'm also not sure if I'm into leather, maybe a little bit, but I'm vegan and I don't condone killing animals for it. Maybe pleather, fake leather, faux leather, whatever. But I was intrigued by the synopsis of this book, and I'm probably halfway through it, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. I feel a little weird. There is an age gap, and that's making me a little uncomfortable, and some other stuff is also a little uncomfortable to read, but another interesting read, I think, indeed, something a little out of my comfort zone. And it also won an award, Fitzcarraldo Edition Nobel Prize. So this book won the Fitzcarraldo Edition's Nobel Prize of 2019. So let me tell you a little bit about these books. Fitzcarraldo Editions, it's a publisher, indie publisher, who publishes literary fiction and long form essays. And I just like the minimalistic covers and designs of these books. And one of my favorite books that I talk all the time about on this channel, Drive You a Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk, is also in this edition, and it's kind of nice. Is it hypnotizing? I don't know. I like these editions a lot, and this won a prize of 2019 of Fitzcarraldo Edition Novel 2019, and it's given to works of literary fiction of published or unpublished authors, and sounds wonderful. This book also sounds interesting. I am already reading it, and let's see how it ends. Okay, move on to the next one. So the next book that I got is called The Yogini by Sangeeta Bandyopadhyay, and it is translated from Bengali by Arunava Singh, who is also an award-winning translator. Exciting stuff. Indian literature, I need to read more Indian literature, and I'm glad that I've got my hands on this wonderful book, and it sounds really interesting. So this is a story about the protagonist's name is called Homi, and she's a modern woman in India, and she has a very prestigious job in television. She's balancing that with a very passionate marriage. I think she's just managing both her personal and professional life well. And one day in street, she meets a mysterious man, a yogi, a spiritual guide kind of being, and it's mysterious because it's only visible to her and not anybody else, and she thinks it's a manifestation of her fate, and yeah, lots of things happen. I think it's better if I go in without reading too much about it or knowing too much about it, so I will stop at that. The story sounds interesting, and it won an award called Pen translates award. PEN translates award, or a grant for translated work in 2017. And the books that are selected for the grant, it says on the website that they are given the grant on the basis of outstanding literary quality, strength of the publishing project, and contribution to the literary diversity of the UK. I think this book kind of has all these three, so it got the grant. And this grant recognizes some lesser translated languages, so I'm really curious about who are the books that received the grant recently. So I'm going to be looking up that, and I am going to be reading this maybe next after Box Hill. Let's see what happens. And the last but not the least, it's The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. Everybody knows that book by now. I am a little bit late to the party at Shei Ishiguro, but nonetheless, I am here. I am fashionably late, or maybe not. I am just lamely late. And this book won the Booker Prize of 1989. That was a little before I was born. But nonetheless, let's talk a little bit about Booker Prize, shall we? I mean, Booker Prize is strangely associated with words that I don't really like. For example, it was called the Man Booker Prize. Little sexism in the mix. Then the word imperial nostalgia. Not a big fan of that word. That is also strangely associated with the books that have been selected for the prize in earlier years and later years. They tried to become modern. They modified and they started awarding this prize to the books that are culture after the empire, that related books, or books that show the culture after the empire. I don't know how I feel about that. So some books that have won or been shortlisted or longlisted for the prize have been interesting, and obviously I think they must be really good if it's so hyped up in the booktube community. I don't know anything. Who am I to judge? I am very new to reading and I'm not that smart. But I do have to give them one thing, Booker Prize. It has redeemed itself a little bit, because I think the Booker channel was inspired by the Booker Prize, so that is a plus point for this. 1 point to the Booker Prize. Hello, Bob. Okay, so let's talk about this book by Kazuo Ishiguro. This is a book about a butler called Stevens. It is written like diary entries about his life, about his professional and private relationship with the housekeeper called Ms. Kenton, and that those diary entries are intermingled with like the day's activities, course of the day, or something like that. I haven't read too much and I wouldn't want to know more about it before reading, because that's how I like to go into books like that. And I've heard this is sad, and I think I'm due. I'm not sure, I'll have to check my schedule, but I'm due for an solid ugly cry sometime soon. So I think this seems promising. If not, the other books also seem to have potential to destroy me, so I'm happy about that. And I hope you enjoyed my little book haul that I just did. And if you know any more details about these books, or if you have read them, if you have anything interesting to tell me about these books, please put that down in the comments and let's chat about that. And I'm so grateful that I can talk to you guys, have a little bit of creative outlet here, and have fun and cheer myself up, and maybe cheer you guys a little bit too in the process. And yeah, without rambling too much, I will stop here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, maybe, please, or subscribe, share, all the things that people do to support people who are making videos. I would appreciate greatly if you did those. Thank you so much in advance, and I will see you next week. Bye bye. Take care. Until then, goodbye.